Good morning.
Right, now I like the photograph behind you. Whereabouts is it?
That's the view from my house today. Well, it was yesterday, but it has not changed since yesterday. And that's me looking out of my bedroom up, out onto the. And I'm quite proud of that picture. I thought it was come out quite well.
It has. It has. It makes a good backdrop. Now, you seem to be getting younger and younger because on the right-hand side of the screen is the photo, the show card for Blowing for Britain, and you chose an image.
Yeah.
I did say you could choose your own image, so that's all fair. Uh,
What am I
John,
younger in the image?
I think so.
I'm 61 now. Would you believe? A lot of people don't believe it.
Incredible. Um, right. Okay. So we're waiting for John and
Right.
Stephen. Um, Not heard from either of them. I hope they're both okay. Uh,
Did you get the picture I sent you in Messenger?
I did. I shall
Right.
bring it. There you are. So that's the scene that you've got is the scene looking
Yeah.
out, but on your doorstep this morning you got this.
Well, it wasn't my doorstep because
Well, I
that's
don't.
no.
Yeah.
Put it on big screen. Let's see, please.
Okay.
There you go. So there you go. Now, a big thing that's happened in Aberdeen with the lockdown, folks, I can tell you, so a lot of taxi drivers in Aberdeen have become milkmen.
Hmm.
And I think they get two deliveries to an area each week. They take eggs and they take all sorts of bread, dairy, and and that's what happens. Now it brings back memories for me, Stephen, because I used to be a milkman, and I remember the milk going like that when I had to deliver it many years ago. Hated
Yeah.
the job, very fit.
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? That it's so cold that the milk expands.
Yeah.
It freezes. Yeah.
So the big news in Aberdeen, my house where I'm sitting, it's actually minus 13 when I got up this morning because I usually ask Alexa,
Yeah.
and up in other areas it reached minus 29 in my area. And that's the big news all over Facebook in Aberdeen. Okay, you can take me back now. There you go. That's it. Oh, it's 22.9. I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
UK's lowest in 20. So that's no, even for Aberdeen, because people were putting up pictures of a young lad that I know, Eshan. He's
Yeah.
Iranian. And he says, "Oh, look at this." And I just said, we used to get it every winter in the 70s, every winter,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. We. I
And
mean. Yeah.
he said, I wouldn't like that every winter, but I just can't believe the difference between then. I mean, I was a bus driver at 21,
Hmm.
and one night I was going from Aberdeen to Ellen, and I never made it. The snow was that bad, and I had to put on like an old army greatcoat. We actually had them then, and I'd
Hmm.
said to the passengers, with no mobile phones then, I says, if I don't come back, send out a search party. And I had to go to someone's house and phone the depot.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I mean, I lived in Nelson, and Nelson, you've got the town centre, which is just above the canal, and then it's built on hills, a bit like
Yeah,
Rome, really. It's built on hillsides, and
yeah,
we used to go out sledging in back in the day. But you know of a company that's bought some sledges.
yeah. I there's a do you know you've got there's a shop in Aberdeen that's shut down. It's called the Colour Box. And you know when you want a little widget or something, you go, I know, I'll go to there.
Yeah.
But the shop shut down, so someone took advantage of taking the name, the Colour Box it's called. And I go there for nicks and knacks. And I went in, I looked over, and I said, oh, you've got sledges then? He goes, yeah. He says, I've just come back from England. He says, I've got 1,000 of them. And I put a note out on Facebook. Believe it or not, they've all gone.
Wow.
People are actually saying, where can I get a sledge? And even adults are going out and sledging at the moment.
I mean that's old time fun, isn't it? That's reliving our youth, going out on
Yeah.
sledges. Right. Okay. And we say good morning to Chris And Chris is saying hello, Stephen and Peter. And I saw you both last night on mobile. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
And over to Mr. Upton, who's saying you'll be here at 10 past. Okay, it must be a big delivery.
Was he shaving?
And over to Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's -13 in devices. So there you go.
Wow.
Which
That's
it's setting some records. Right, okay, now let's take that card off screen because we know who we are now. So I'm going to hide that card and come to, we'll keep the milk there because it's a reminder of what it is today.
It's
Right.
amazing. Oh,
Now,
see that milk? I'm going on your agenda.
yeah, no, okay. I want to talk about Be.Live Mobile.
Yes.
And you were on Be.Live Mobile yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I've been lucky enough to become what do you call it when you get
an alpha tester?
An alpha tester, a beta tester. Yeah. And but I don't. It's for an iPhone. Well, iOS. So I've got an iPad and I downloaded it onto the iPad. It was a bit. I've got to tell you, it was a bit tricky to get it downloaded. Something else come up. What is it called? A helicopter or something flying. That's what it was.
Right.
But eventually, I downloaded the app and I went live from my house. And Chris kindly came in, and I've got to tell you, Chris's picture was absolutely wonderful. It was great. The sound was clear as well. The sound was clear most of the time. And then I had a friend who stays just over, his wife had passed away. And it was great to see him coming on. George come on and had a chat. And it was great. And his little dog.
Yeah.
And it just made me think, there's a lot of lonely people there.
People on their own. Yeah. Okay.
So I think that it's just a shame that I don't have an iPhone, but it's hard to push the. Yeah, I know how to get people on and off at the moment. Yeah, but and I'd love to take people and see more at Aberdeen as we get down to that bit and have it live and show them. And the iPad would be better once I get a decent holder for it, because sometimes I've got the dog in my hand as well. But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very good app. I don't know if you're going to be able to share screens and things, but I'm sure they'll add on to it. You know.
It's a good, indeed. Morning, Stephen.
Morning, guys.
Right, we can hear you. Yeah, you can. I was live with Brigitte yesterday morning, and the guests can share their screen. The host can share their screen. I mean, obviously, the real estate on a mobile phone, just to examine, you can't really see too much. You've got to cram a lot in, but you can do well. It makes life a lot easier because you can actually broadcast when you're on the go. So when you go on your Sunday walks, Peter.
Yeah, well, one of the things is I didn't see the bit for sharing my screen, if I can remember correctly.
Well, I shared my screen and it came up as a small icon in the same place as when Chris joined you. You saw a small icon for Chris, you pressed it and she came on screen.
Yeah.
So it's the same technology. But
So,
to be able to...
what I would ask is, where would you use it? Just let's give people some ideas.
Right, I would use it to give a guided tour of devices. I would use it whenever I meet up with somebody broadcasting. I use it to keep in touch with people.
Okay. Stephen, Silk, when would you use it?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't, because you don't have Android, do you?
No.
It's on iOS.
Right.
It's only on iOS at the moment.
Yeah. The only thing I use Be.Live for is Blabbing for Britain. I use Zoom for everything else.
There's times Sheila falls out and says, why don't you go to your office? It's blooming freezing here at night, so it would be very handy for me going upstairs like I'd done that other program last night with you, Stephen. And that's when I would use it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we
Okay.
once we've got it, and it's actually an Android as well, then it's a game changer. Because if you think of India and Pakistan, they can't afford the $25 a month for Be.Live or StreamYard. But if they could go live from the mobile phone, because they don't have decent hardware either, so if they could go live from the mobile phone, it would be a lot easier for them. So I can see a great take up in the Far East and India, Pakistan, Singapore, anywhere that people want to go live.
Yeah.
And over to Chris. And you have a greeting, Stephen. Chris is saying hello, Stephen.
Hello, Chris. Nice to see you again.
And Chris again. Chris is going to use the mobile app on school events, which is a good use case, great case.
Yeah. Kelly, I used to be a milkman. I had to go in for an operation at the hospital, and I'm laying there, and the guy says to me, I'd not long came out of the army, and he said, we don't meet people like you very much. He goes, what do you mean? He says, you're very fit. And the job had actually kept me fit by climbing down, bending down, lugging things at 3 a.m. But I can tell you, I hate the job. I hate it.
Yeah. I think that I don't know what it's like around you, Stephen, but in Devizes, our local farm shop has gone into the dairy business, and they're delivering milk to the doorstep twice a week in different areas. And we used to get a sort of gallon tank from Morrison's, but now we get milk delivered to the doorstep. Is it same
I
as
believe
that?
that happens here as well, I believe. But we haven't seen it in where I live, so it'll be. So that's a great idea, of course. You know, it was only -3 here last night, but it's still bloody cold. And any excuse not to go out, I'll take. Thank you.
While we're on it, see the background I've got, this housing estate I'm in. When it was in 1986, I used to deliver to the milk to this area, and it was like a rabbit warren. And I was a relief milkman, and the guy that done it stayed not far from here, or he did. And his 2 kids would come round and help him. But when I went on my own, I had no help, and all the women used to say, "It's miles late," and I said, "Well, I don't get 2 kids to help me." But as you can see, the blue there, that is I think it's a skimmed milk, right? And the red is the semi-skimmed. And by the time I went round the estate, there was this woman about 3 days. She didn't get her skimmed milk because I had run out. And she came out one day and she says to me, "What's going on here?" I goes, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I ordered skim milk." I says, "Mary's not in this week." She says, "What do you mean Mary's not this week?" I says, do you not know how it's done?" She goes, "What do you mean?" I says, "It goes along the conveyor belt, and the full cream gets to go through. Semi-skimmed, she knocks half the top off, and full skimmed, she knocks it all off. And Mary's not here today. That's why you're getting blue milk." And she said, "I'm reporting you."
Right, okay, and we'll say good morning to all the way from Solihull, which is 10 minutes behind the rest of the world.
No. I had to go out first thing to meet the council guys at 9:30 at the allotments, and they didn't turn up till 9:45. But life's like that, isn't it?
It is. What's happening at the allotment?
They're cutting 2 trees down for us.
Okay. And
they have keys themselves, but they weren't sure which trees. So, as site secretary, it was down to me to tell them which trees.
So there are no milkmen in Belgium. The milkman in Solihull, John?
I think so. I haven't had my milk delivered for 20 years, I suspect, but I think there are. Doesn't deliver just milk, though. I think it makes more deliveries of veg and stuff these days, and groceries rather than just milk.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
up here, Stephen, that's how a lot of the taxi drivers are employed. One of them got a manager's job, and then all the taxi drivers got job delivering milk. Anyway, Stephen.
No, okay. Kelly's saying when he was a kid, he had powdered milk just underwater. And Chris is saying hello, John.
Hello, Chris.
Good. Right. Okay. Anything happening this week at all? Apart from how cold is it in Stoke, Stephen?
-3.
Yeah. It's with the wind chill factor. We've got lots of wind in devices, as you know. It's -13 here.
Oh, okay.
That with the wind chill.
Yeah.
You asked about what's happening in the world, Stephen.
I did.
I don't know if any of you are following the second impeachment of the Orange Monster. I'm riveted to it. And when you sort of see the case that's being made, the story that's being told, and the evidence that's been provided, the Yanks were so lucky not to have had an actual revolution.
Yeah.
And that includes things like, do you remember a guy called Eugene Goodman? He's a black cop who diverted the rioters, I should say the Trump rioters, away from the actual Senate room, the chamber, saving God knows how many lives, because they were out to kill him. But he actually also headed Mitt Romney away from the mob hiding him. He's just a cop, but he has actually saved the bloody republic. And then you've got a mob who, at Trump's direction, tried to kill Mike Pence.
Yeah.
It's Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi, and then when you find out from the evidence that was put in front of them yesterday that the police were begging for backup, and it wasn't coming. You know how you read John Grisham books and movies, and you watch Mission Impossible, and you watch all these programs which are about overthrowing governments and the corruption and the incitement, the sedition. Every part of this, every bad bit of those things is being described at the moment in the States. So, you know, it really is, they really are so lucky that the mob didn't get as far as they wanted to. And the only saving grace, as far as I can see, is that Trump probably will be found not guilty by the Senate because of the Republican cowards. But it's just presaging the death of the Republican Party. It's a historical few days, mate. It really is. And they've shown more video that hasn't been released yet of squashing people to death, shootings. It's just, it's soul destroying when you think about it. And I just hope it'll be over quickly, and Joe Biden, President Biden, will be able to sort out the hell of a mess that Trump's left behind. But anyway, that's just one man's. On the good news, side,
I agree with you. Sorry. I agree with your commentary, Stephen. I mean, watching the video, it's just, you're incredulous that such a thing could happen in a first world country at the behest of the leader of that country.
Yeah.
And that people like, as you say, Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi, and Mitt Romney could be in danger.
Yeah.
And I mean, sort of, Mike Pence was only 10 feet away from the mobs, which is just, well, The thing about the trial is that it's due to finish over the weekend. They're sitting over the weekend, and the judgment, the final vote, will be made over the weekend. So we don't have to live with it for very long. But it is like watching a horror movie.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Just pity they didn't do the same with Black Lives Matter when they were attacking a federal building. That's all I'll say. There's much blinkered views out there, and that's all I'm going to say in the matter. I'm going to sit back and watch.
I think what you've just said there, Pete, is really sad, and that you're on the wrong side of history on this one, dude.
Oh, I personally don't agree. The citizens in the USA, just like they become Americans because of the British, you can only push a nation so far, and they've got a 50-50 divide over there. And if you think it's finished now, I can tell you there's more to come. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
I quite agree. It ain't 50.
Tell that to the 11,000 people that lost their job in the pipeline the next day.
Not trying to kill anybody, Peter. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving
Right,
on. I think we must. Sometimes we'll do half and half. Kelly's talking about milk when he lived in Toronto. Sometimes we'll do half and half, and that's when I lived in Toronto. Say good morning to Nick, and Nick is saying, I left milk. Milk is the story of the day, Peter. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
I left milk in my car overnight and it didn't freeze. I really thought it would. Okay. And over to Nick again. I think you've been watching too many movies. USA won't revolt. They're not that stupid. And that's what we call in Britain sarcasm. And after Chris, when I was young, there was a bakery who delivered fresh bread at home. Originally, they had horses. So we named him the Horseman.
Yeah.
I did
as well.
when I was 12 and 13. I delivered bread on a Saturday morning for the local, working for the local baker. That was a long time ago, though.
Hope we give you a lot of dough.
Oh.
Those kind of jokes are just going to be ignored.
Right. Okay. Let's go for some
What's
news. I'm going to put one word up on the screen. Sorry, Peter.
Nick would agreed with me there. Wow.
I showed it on screen. I was fair. I
did.
tried to be even-handed, even though I have my own opinions.
Okay.
One word. Blabbing. Is this a national disgrace?
Yes.
3.5 years ago.
No, it started a lot before that.
Yeah.
Long
Okay.
before that.
This is one where Solihull Council have actually reacted quite well.
Ooh.
They've taken all of their high-rise building cladding down and replaced it, and at the same time insulated their high-rise buildings externally.
Wow. They must be one of the few then.
Well, I think they already had it in the budget, to be honest. But they have removed the cladding and replaced it with these modern insulation blocks.
It's just
If they
sheer
said who's to
corruption.
blame,
Sheer corruption.
Yeah.
who's to blame?
Conservative
Money.
government and
No,
conservative
money is
halls.
to blame because the company
And
that
Labour
produced the
town halls.
produced a product at a price point that was inflammable. And it was only a few pounds more to have a non-flammable at the same meterage.
Just call it for what it is, corruption.
Yeah.
So
Does the
everything.
Yeah.
Everything
Does the-
should be fireproof.
Is it corruption meeting a price point?
Yeah, when you fiddle the figures, when you provide a product that is actually flammable, when you cover up what's occurred, and when it's 3.5 years after the event, and they're still not being held to account.
Can
That's the
anyone?
thing. Was it flammable? Was they told to put in non-flammable material, but they put in
No,
flammable?
they weren't told to do anything. They just offered two products.
Ah,
And most people went for the cheaper product, but they knew that it was a very, very thin piece of aluminium,
right.
a a piece of plastic and then another sheet of aluminium.
Right, interesting. I
Now,
think when I put up bird
The
netting,
interesting thing is that the technical person from the company is based in France, and another person they want to interview is based in Germany, and they're currently hiding behind EU law.
Europeans, what's that problem?
Can anybody explain why they've got the 18-meter rule, so that if the building is over 18 meters high, everything gets paid for? If it's under 18 meters high, then the residents pay, but get a loan from the government. What's that about?
It's about lobbying.
Oh, well,
Right.
18 meters, is that 2 or 3 stories?
4, I think. 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, even more pink there soon.
What would be different in Scotland?
Yeah. So on a happier note, have you all booked your holiday this year?
Ha 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 ha!
Never even thought about holidays.
Just as well, Pete, because you wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, I've just forgotten holidays. But I'll tell you what,
Love
once
to
it's
go on
all over,
holiday. Can't even go on holiday in the UK.
we're going to go camping somewhere.
No, you're not.
Well, but Hanson Glen has he? You know, by September, he may well be able to. All these people who are booking holidays in April and May, I think, are on Looney Land.
Well, Mr. Aer Lingus was up in arms the other day because he thinks people should be allowed to have a choice and book holidays.
What? So as they have to cancel them and get refunds or move the money, and that's already caused tremendous issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we've got twinning, and twinning didn't take place in 2020. Okay, and we're thinking about, does it take place in 2021? And the answer to that is no, because at the moment legally we can't move about, never mind visitors from France and Germany moving about, but they can't actually get here. Yeah. And if they do come here, they've got to quarantine. And our event's only 4 days, and I don't see much point in quarantining for 10 days and paying £1,750 for a weekend which is ostensibly free. So Twinning 2021 will not take place. We're hoping that Twinning 2022 might. So that's basically a real life effect.
They're still talking about the Olympics going on, aren't they, in Japan?
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. I mean, can we take bets on it?
Well, my bet is it shouldn't. Well, it can't.
It can't. Of course it can't. No, it can't. That's
The Australian tennis is taking place under strict COVID rules.
The tennis players have been locked up in hotel rooms for 14 days. They've been quarantined 2 weeks before the event. They've had to live in a hotel room for 14 days in order to be able to play.
That's going to take their daily average pay down to what, £60,000 a day?
Well,
and how did he get there?
By flew, of course.
They went straight into quarantine. Yeah, I mean the tennis is taking place at the moment. The Grand Prix will take place as well in March.
It's crazy. I'll tell you what I was seeing yesterday. There's an army camp somewhere. Might be abroad. No, I think it's in Kenya. And a lot of the soldiers, our soldiers, have picked up the virus. And the first thing they done was confiscate their phones. All the soldiers' phones were confiscated, according to the report, because they don't want it getting out. It's already out.
You're here to help with that, Pete.
What's that?
You're here to help with getting the message out.
Well, the thing is, why lie? If they've got a problem, let us know about it.
I think that people seem to be quite people seem to be quite worried about this Kent variant.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And it's been detected already. You can tell I'm watching the BBC website. The Kent variant has been already detected in more than 50 countries. Yeah. And you think, what? How the hell has that happened?
Well, it's how the virus is mutating, isn't it? And basically, the first place to actually discover a mutation names it. So the Kent mutation occurred in Kent. And then when they find the same, in another country, rather than calling it the Italian, they call it the Kent one. So what's happening is that when it mutates, it's mutations, and that sounds ludicrous, they're actually predictable. Yeah. So if a mutation occurs in one country, it will occur independently in another country. They're not
Randomly,
necessarily every country.
Randomly, you say?
I thought it was being racist to call it any country's name nowadays. People have been called out for it now, for calling it a certain country's name.
That's generally what happens when a racist says those things, not when it's just describing where the thing.
So a lefty is allowed to say it. So somebody that's non-conservative, they can say what they want.
The distinction I was making was that a racist said it.
There is a not too subtle difference. Sorry, Stephen. There's a not too subtle difference here, Peter. We're not saying that the virus was created in Kent by Kent people. We're just saying it originated in Kent. When people call it China virus, they're inferring explicitly that the virus was created in China.
Yeah.
To call it the Kent virus is just to say this is a variation of coronavirus. It's not saying anything more than that.
Okay. Don't mention a name. They should come up with an all-encompassing name. It doesn't. I'll tell you something. See, in Aberdeen, we had typhoid, right? And Aberdeen, I'm told, was like a leper colony, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My supervisor went to a woman's house, and they let him in to do things and everything, and she smashed a cup in front of him. He says, I was fuming. So we know what it was like. Nobody would come to Aberdeen. We were locked out back then. And I was about 2 or 3 years old at the time. And people had to go to the hospital and look outside. So that's what can happen when you stigmatize a city by calling it a verde. Don't go near that. Kent people, they've got the plague. Stop calling it any name apart from its virus name.
They're all given numbers, aren't they, though? Each variation.
Yeah.
It's just a commonality thing that people have tried. They're actually variations by number.
Well, that's what they should use.
But we'd all get confused then.
Yeah.
Totally.
Could you imagine those poor Kent people just now looking over walls? You know? Blaming us.
They're not being blamed. It's just
people might think that way because you know there's people like that out there.
Okay. There's this.
Well, they're still trying to work out how the South African variant appeared in Wiltshire.
Right. Let's go to our second.
Nobody in the small group that has it has had any contact with anybody that's been to South Africa. Do we believe that new investigation finding in China? Probably yes.
Too late. Pointless.
Yeah, I mean, it's after shutting the gate after the horse has bolted, whatever the phrase is. But their findings are that it is unlikely to have escaped from the lab. So, you know.
Are you taking the virus, Stephen?
Am I what?
Are you taking the vaccine?
As soon as it comes out, yeah. First in line.
Stephen?
Yes, definitely.
John?
Yeah, I will be.
And I've got my badges ready to wear when I get it. Now, What are we going to do about the people that don't take it?
We don't have to do anything. Providing we're protected, they can look after their own devices. But ideally, everybody should be vaccinated.
Good point.
Yeah. If you don't get vaccinated, you run the risk of actually catching the virus.
Badly, bigly.
But we could still get the virus from them,
Yeah, but we're
even though we've
protected.
been vaxxed.
But the idea is that the vaccine doesn't allow the virus to go badly in your body. Doesn't say you won't get some effect from it, but it won't be badly. But personally, I think all these people who don't want to take the vaccine, we should do a Peter on them and we should lock them all up in a compound. No, not really, but
Send them all to the other one.
Or things that I'm in Union Square.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to use it. It's can I say the coloured population of the UK? Is that legit? Because I don't like the.
I don't think it is the coloured population. I think it's certain regionally historic people, i.e. people from Pakistan and people from that area. But certainly in Birmingham, they're the people who are the naysayers.
Yeah, coloured people, black people. Yeah. Okay.
But people of Caribbean history and African history, they all seem to be more than willing to get out there and get the injection.
What's the objection, though?
What's the objection? Oh, there's loads of people who say we're being guinea pigs.
There are lots of scare stories.
Yeah, it's just craziness.
Well, I'll be wearing my badge when I get to say that I've done it, and I hope it doesn't give me any hassle, you know, because that could backfire. They might ask for my books.
Nick is saying, I'm a little concerned about the AstraZeneca being useful 65 plus. I will take it as I need to travel in the near future. And over to Chris. I think that the vaccine you cannot become very ill from COVID-19 once you've taken the vaccine. Over to Nick again. On Marlon Sunday, the lady didn't answer the question. Or,
What was the question?
you know, politician didn't answer a question. We could do a whole Blabbing for Britain on that one.
I don't think it was a politician. I think it was a scientist lady.
Right. Okay.
And it was a stupid question, as I recall.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So right now, there's a drug been tested on 2,000 people, and on average, they have managed to lose 20% of their body weight. There's an appetite drug that could mark a new era in tackling the condition, and we know.
I have some, please.
It is quite probably the most serious disease in the UK at the moment, obesity. And this drug permanently lowers people's appetites. So you feel full as soon as you've eaten something. So you don't go on to snack and graze and everything like that. It basically is obviously it is a way to actually control what is a real problem, and obviously it's a personal choice as we actually go on
delivery coming in. Put me on pause.
All right, okay, just a moment. I'm going to pause Stephen if I can. Pause Stephen. Okay, so Stephen is paused. Remind me to switch him back on again, will you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that just let's stay with science for a moment then. US airlines are actually going to buy flying electric taxis. Now you talked about taxis earlier, Peter and Milkman.
Yeah.
This is a story that for ferrying people from airport to airport. They're going to have an airport taxi. Can you grab a picture of it, John? It's on BBC and share it. It'd be brilliant. Because my question is, would you fly in one of these? Yeah, because I'm not saying it's not safe, but I'm just asking. Right, okay. And the story on Sunday was about effectiveness, and Nick is saying, I hoped she would answer a simple question. Yes, it absolutely works in over 65s. You found it?
Is the taxi just going to be within the airport area? Is it? What's it going to do?
Sorry, can you say that again, Peter? I was
Flying electric taxi. What is it going to do? Take people from the airport to their destination? Away from the airport, or is it within the airport?
It's where you've got to change airports in major cities, and it will fly you from one airport to the other airport. So if your onward journey is not at the airport you're actually physically at the moment, then you can be taxied over to the airport.
What mileage are we talking about?
It's like sitting inside a giant drone looking at the picture.
That's why I wanted the photo of it, because it is. Yeah.
I suspect, I know my friend, he's an airport taxi driver. I suspect they wouldn't be too happy about it, you know. I could imagine.
Share the page, Steve.
Yes, if you would, John, yeah.
So I go screen, Chrome tab.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Right. Okay. So the question is, and there it is. Thank you, John. That brings it all to life. That's what it looks like, Peter.
Yeah.
Would you go in one of those? Looks like it's been made out of metal Lego.
Is there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course we can.
All right. Is there going to be a pilot? Who's driving it?
I think the bloke at the front is.
Okay.
It's a three-seater by the look of things, Peter.
Right. Do you know, once people had tried it out and I look at the death doll, I would maybe use it if there wasn't a many.
It's by a company called Archer. It's not a new venture.
Right. So it's an existing product.
I think it's going to come. Things like this will come. Remember? Meet George Jetson. Remember George Jetson?
Well, the relationship with airlines is that United Airlines are putting, along with regional carrier Mesa Airlines, are putting $1 billion order up to fund the development.
What's the problem? So people come off an airplane and they've got to go to another airport.
No, I think it's actually designed for things like flying you downtown.
Ah, right. Because if 20 wanted it, there's only enough for 2 passengers.
Yes, but then they currently, a lot of these airlines, if you're in first class, they'll provide a limo to take you downtown.
Oh, do they? So they would take you from Birmingham Airport to...
Oh, wait.
That was quick, John.
John, they would take you from Birmingham Airport into the city centre.
Yeah.
How are they going to park in Broad Street?
Well, you don't need a lot of space, do they? And they would create a place. I mean, you get helicopters that fly into London, don't you? And they've got a London heliport, so...
It's actually a good idea to beat the traffic, because if I had the chance to go on a helicopter thing rather than wait for traffic, I could do it. As long as I've got a parachute.
All right, some good news.
Okay.
Shall we turn that one off then?
Yeah, sure.
Royal
Mail to keep on the 10,000 temporary workers they took on over Christmas because they are so busy delivering parcels.
Yeah.
So 2 winners, Amazon and Royal Mail delivery staff. That's good.
Yeah. And the losers today, if you work for Heineken, there's 8,000 jobs going.
Oh, bloody hell.
Crazy.
So, but there's only going to be 100 in Britain. But the pubs are feeling the pinch now. And so there's 8,000 going. Heineken. Do you ever wonder if it's God looking down at us and say, oh, alcohol, let's get rid of that thing, causes too many problems. Zap!
The easy answer, Peter, is that we're all part of some big computer game.
You must have malfunctioned with me.
Okay, they can add a new subroutine and screw us up royally. Okay, so we've not had one for a while. So the magical question is, I'm sorry, Peter, what trade deals has the UK done so far?
Is the answer none?
No, the answer is close to. We've done deals with we've done deals with 30 countries, including Singapore, but none of them are worth over 30 million a year. We still haven't finished doing the deal with the EU. Yeah, that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But what was it? What was this that the EU threatened to wanted our vaccines? That was a story that broke there last week.
Big mistake.
What?
The Irish weren't very happy about
You were
it.
in favour of it. I like a particular brand of Bloody Mary mix. I love it, and I found it in America 10, 15 years ago. And it's not available outside of America, which is a bit of a bummer. But then I found a French website, would you believe? It's called My American Market.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happily importing it from Paris. Very efficient website, straight through. You order it on a Monday, it arrives on a Friday. And then just after leaving the EU on 1st of January, I went on, I thought, I wonder. And they've taken the UK off of the list of countries they can provide service to. Very apologetic, of course, but they just said, can't do it anymore. Mm. Now, I know it's about, the little teething problems that Pete's mates have put on us. But I had another look yesterday, and it said, sorry, still can't provide you with the service. And then you sort of hear that is it 70% of two-way traders closed down, and the Scottish fishermen are up in arms. It's all going terribly well, isn't it?
Well, we've got a pandemic. There's the European Union playing silly bees. Look what they've done. The slightest hint of a problem. Border, the stop. Now, let me tell you. A good idea there. Why did Cadbury's come back to Britain?
I shouldn't have done that. I do apologise.
John.
You breaking up a little bit, Peter, as well.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
Your microphone can't cope with your bullshit.
John, why could you tell us the reason that Cadbury's have taken their plant back for their chocolate factory? Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, people weren't buying it.
Sorry?
People were not buying it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same as when HP sauce went across the water. People stopped buying HP sauce, although we've all forgotten that now and we're all buying HP sauce again. But in Birmingham, people were boycotting Cadbury chocolate.
And that reason for that?
Well, I think it's one of the reasons. I don't think it's the main reason. The main reason is that it's probably very painful to import it, and all the machinery exists in Birmingham. So why not move production back to Birmingham?
I've done a tour of the Bourneville factory, and it's Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's just totally amazing to go through the chocolate production. And
Stephen, could I just say that I've got a white bar and a blue bar going across the screen with one of our viewers' faces.
It's the viewers.
sorry.
I can't see anything.
You got okay. There we go. That's better.
Yeah, like that.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like that, but this is absolutely the way it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's back.
If you don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but
Okay. Sorry.
Cadbury's is set up by Quakers.
Can you take a screenshot, please, Stephen?
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter. You were saying.
I'm saying Cadbury's was actually set up by Quakers.
Yeah. Built houses for the workers on
Yeah.
the Bourneville site. Bourneville now is one of the posher areas, isn't it, John?
Yeah. I mean, Bourneville houses command a premium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
The quality of build is such, and of course, it's centred around the village green with some shops overlooking the village green. So it's it really is like a village within a city.
Chris can't send Belgian chocolates to the UK. Chris sent Angelica and I a present of Belgian chocolates earlier this year, and can't do it anymore. So there you are, Peter.
Come good in the end. At least that's what the Conservatives tell me. It will come good in the end.
Okay.
Oh,
In
yes.
other news, the local elections in May, that's council and county council elections, are going ahead because, well, I'm going to stay apolitical here. I'm going to try my best. I do have a stake in the ground, but the elections will take place on May 21st. You should now be applying for your mail-in vote if you want it. And you can actually go and vote physically on the day. You will be happy to know that none of your prospective councillors, either for county or for your parish, will be knocking on your door. They won't be canvassing for votes. Nobody's doing that. Even the Conservatives not doing that. Lib Dems are not, and Labour are not. So you can make your mind up. And they won't be able to leaflet either. So the whole battle is being fought on social media, and for social media, read Facebook. So that's the only place that you can actually promote.
Twitter will have its fair share, Stephen.
Sorry?
Twitter will have its fair share.
Oh yeah, Twitter as well. Yeah, Twitter. So this year's elections are on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, can I just say, don't contact me on Facebook, any party, because I'm not voting. You've lost my vote. I've lost confidence in you. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to look at what you do and I'll look at your promises. And I'll hold you to account. And that way, there's no bias from Pete.
Yeah. Are the local elections in Scotland?
Yeah.
Isn't it parliamentary in Scotland?
Say that you're very low. Your microphone's very low, chum.
Isn't the parliamentary election in May as well in Scotland?
Yeah, I've just got a forum in to say about it. But
Are they letting you vote, mate?
I'm not voting. I'm not getting my vote. They don't deserve it.
Well, if you don't vote, you can't complain.
Then you're going to be very happy when Nicola gets in by one vote.
No, that would not. Well, it would make our lives a misery, but it would be. Yeah, that's probably the major effect it would have.
You know, George Galloway's come back to Glasgow.
As a what?
George Galloway has set up in Glasgow, and he's set up a party, an alliance party, with the sole aim of getting Conservatives and Labour all together to get the SNP out of Parliament. That's their main aim.
So you'll vote for him then, will you?
No, I'm not voting for anybody. I'm going to live my life without them. And I'll just do what any party says. I will be a number on my forehead and do what I'm told. I will be 1984, one of those obedient people.
Okay.
That'll be the day, Peter.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You're a rebel. In fact, we all are rebels. Otherwise, we won't be broadcasting live, telling our stories and giving our views. Right. Okay. The comments have come in. Thank you, everybody, for the comments today. It's kept us on our toes. And topics local. Anything happening in Stoke, Stephen?
I have no idea. I don't go out. I honestly, we just don't go out. I'm even told which way to do our daily walk, because when I decide we'll go out for a walk, there's all these humans in the way, and we don't like humans at the moment. Not that we really like them anyway, but you know, we don't go out. Just don't go out. So I don't know what's going on in Stoke. I think we're still doing all right in the football, but I don't know and I don't really care. But I don't know. I have no idea. I know that we're all pissed off, very fed up of this lockdown thing. But at the same time, we think, is it lockdown? Because all these people going past our street seem to be as many as any time. You know.
Yeah, well, the road I live on is used as a cut through to the Land Rover factory. So at 7 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night, you can just watch them whiz past.
So they're still building then?
Well, the most exciting thing to happen in Solihull is that they actually collected the recycling this week, because they missed the recycling 2 weeks before, and because of the snow.
Yeah.
Well,
and they didn't leave any mess behind either.
That's a breaking news type of issue, isn't it, John? Breaking news from Solihull.
It's about the most exciting thing happening here this week. Yep.
Oh,
Peter.
Only other news is not good news that affects Solihull is that they've reopened the morgue at Birmingham Airport, which is in Solihull.
Yeah.
Because the funeral directors are unable to cope with the volume.
Yeah.
Third time lucky, Peter. Peter.
I'm being a good boy today. For me, I just said to Sheila when I got up, I says, how are you feeling about the sameness every day? And she goes, what do you want for breakfast? I says, oh, I'll have that low sugar, what do you call it? Maize or whatever. She says, oh, there's not any. But I'll tell you what I do to keep me amused. We've got a local Facebook page called Fubar News. And I just watch things coming on there to tell us things locally, right? And then I watch the fallout between people for getting a comma wrong or something like that. That's what amuses me.
The biggest news last weekend was Peter turned into David Attenborough.
Oh, yeah.
And we went hunting deer. Well, we didn't go hunting the deer, but the deer appeared in the local park. And Kelly and I followed him from just after midnight when he went out for a walk until 25 to 3 in the morning. And it was amazing what we saw, because he's got a Samsung S10, and at night the video was pretty damn good.
It was a beautiful night, but I've got to tell you, next day I was ill because I must have.
What do you mean next day? You mean same day you were ill?
And then my feet were aching, and Sister Sheila, don't let me do that again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a microphone. I'm going to put that thing over my mouth, and the microphone's going to be there, and I'll speak into it. That's what I'll do.
Because after you answered the phone call, we couldn't hear you.
No, I know that was horrible. And did you see the hat that I'm wearing? That That has been a brilliant present, you know, from Sheila.
But it was, I think the best thing about it was he wanted to show us a former quarry that had been filled with water and turned into a water event centre.
Yeah.
So he climbed up the embankment. Yeah. And then he fell down the embankment trying to get off the embankment, which was about 20 foot high. And then he walked further down the roads, and about 100 yards down the road, there's a set of steps and a viewing platform. Never mind.
You actually enjoyed the walk.
Chaps, I've got to go. So
yeah, John, it's over to you.
Okie doke. All right. Well, I enjoyed the deer and the walk, even if nobody else did, Peter, even if you did get in trouble at home when you got back. So it's goodbye from Stokey, because our Stokey man here wants to go. It's goodbye from Scotland, because David Attenborough II also needs to go. And it's goodbye from me and Stephen in Wiltshire and the West Midlands. Goodbye.
Bye. See you I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm clicking the button and we're stopped.